Ernesto was living over there. He is the plague of the neighborhood. He's cruising around in his truck. If he sees women, he'll follow them around. He does sometimes. He's gotten threatened by the people of the local park. Stop following the ladies around. We're going to find you. I think his last boss had to fire him because he painted at someone's house and then afterwards stalked them and did some sort of assault or something like that. And so the next guy had to be told, like, you can't just send a handyman into the local area people's houses who's like a known, who's just memorizing the layout because he's a known criminal. Anyways, someone and I were talking about the name Ernesto, and one of the things we thought about it was it has the sound earnest in it. So it gives you the idea from the get-go. If the guy's got anything perverted or weird going on, he's going to be real earnest about it. So, you know. Anyways, she's a sturdy bitch. Hold on. I lost my lighter. I'm not going to go all the way over that way. Come on, we're going to go back and get it. So, anyways, I was here, I am canceled. I am here this morning because, I don't know, I was thinking to myself about matriarchy and patriarchy, and I was talking to myself about it, and then I was like, you know what, I have to look about it because I'm at least talking to someone. So, in my head, I've been realizing something that has been going on in my mind since watching the Alex Jones show. The Alex Jones show. He still has a radio show. I can post a link to it below the video. Anyone that the government like shuts their channel down, I don't know. I would listen to him a little bit no matter what, just because I'm curious. And then then he gets like shut down during Trump's reign. Doesn't that seem suspicious to you? I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if it's Trump's reign or whatever, but what you want to call it. So inversion politics. He's talking to Alex Jones and he's like, all politics are inversion politics. They want to pass like super conservative laws and get stuff going and set precedent with conservative stuff. They're usually going to put someone more liberal in office, and if they're trying to pass more liberal stuff, they're going to put someone more conservative in office. So every matriarchy, okay, the matriarchy is never going to be better than patriarchy. Patriarchy is never going to be better than matriarchy. I mean, I'll tell you why. Because when you have a matriarchy, you have a small handful of men controlling a large group of women who are getting benefits for turning on men and for keeping them in line. And men will only get to the top in a matriarchy if they turn on other men. Look at the yin-yang symbol. The black has the white, the white has the black. It's a symbol giving an open disclosure of inversion politics. What that means is that the patriarchy is a small group of women using men to hurt and control other women. And a patriarchy is a small group, a matriarchy is a small group of men controlling and guiding the women in order to control the men. And if you really look at it, you'll understand why. Because the person who's willing to turn on their team and grab the other team up is going to make some... I was just thinking about this morning. Well, back in the days of the Chaco Canyon era, there's like crazy slavery and all this stuff going on in the American Southwest way before we ever got here. And for 300 years, in the sprawling kingdom, who at its most peaceful time had the worst atrocities going on, which is always the case with people, because people are always violent and warlike. If you don't let the men fight in the fields, they're going to go attack someone in the closet. So someone's going to do something. What the natives did was not just kindness, it was tactical. When they got a chance, they would buy slaves. The people who were not Chaco slave owners, other tribes would buy slaves, the Dene or like the Navajo, they would buy them back sometimes. Now, just to give you a heads up, like usually a person who's being strategic is going to think twice about sending a house slave to another culture, that's a rival, and I'll tell you the reason why. Strategically, a person who's like not thinking like with their balls is going to realize like if you take those captives to your side, they're going to tell you everything they know. You'd know every weakness in the system and how to topple it. And if you took enough of them, you'd not only be able to have better protection for yourself, knowing how they operate, to keep your people safe, you'd add a bit of numbers, and you could also begin, if you ever needed to plot to overthrow the place. So that you definitely guarantee your own safety. Because the information you'd have would make you too scary of a rival to just be fucked with just randomly. So I've often wondered, did the natives, when the Irish and the Black were being enslaved in front of them, just like in Chaco Canyon in the worst possible way, did they? By the way, I can't but help but think that those buybacks had something to do with that. You know, the walls coming down in Chaco Canyon and the big wind and the dehydration and did that. So, where they say like the wind came and the crops dried up and all that. Cancel the dehydration word. I'm staying nice and hydrated. No, cancel that shit. Anyways, so where am I going with that? That's my OCD. It's like I'm not talking about myself. Oh my god. Does anyone else have an OCD? My mom used to do this. Full-blown top 1% narcissist, and she still had OCD. If she accidentally said something like dehydrated, she'd be like, cancel that. No. Or she'd say something to get rid of it, and then she'd say, put it this way. Okay, keep going. And then I heard Angela Lansbury did something very similar, and I was like, oh, how interesting. Like, they just wouldn't let it go. They'd be like, no, I don't need dehydrated. That would be like a blind man. I don't mind yourself. They're different time. I'm very hydrated. Okay, so just perfectly hydrated. Perfectly hydrated. Just in the normal healthy range. And so, that being said, I was thinking like from a strategic standpoint. And I was like, the natives might not have ended up in concentration camps, and they may have had their casinos sooner and been able to, the ones that were willing to go to industry and casinos and dispensaries and shit, if they had done it like right off the bat. Now, this is Sunday morning quarterbacking, first of all. Everybody hear me out. Sunday morning quarterbacking is so much fun. It's so easy. It's like cleaning your best friend's kitchen when you think their mom's cute. It's nothing. And and like, let's be honest. And so if you believe in the multiverse, then if in one universe the people did this strategically, then by nature there's an equal and opposite reaction. There has to be a universe where they didn't. That's why Harvey Dent probably just starts tossing coins, right? He's just like, there's no good guy, there's no bad guy. Any action I take, it could be used for either side. What do I think I'm doing? Right? I'm just trying to stay alive. So survival, right, is what we're made for. So if the natives had started taking back Black and Irish slaves in this universe, obviously in some universe it happened, but we're not in that one. And so if that strategy had been used, it's been successful over time that if you raid those people and you turn them, you train them, and you find out all their secrets, and then you turn them into part of your comrades and against the other guys, then you become a formidable enough enemy to where people are going to just think twice before they fuck with you. Oh, I told myself I was like cutting back on my marijuana. And I was like, I cut back so much. And I was like, I smoke one joint in the morning, smoke the other one at night. And then that would be such a cutback you don't even know. And so I was like, I might even wait for my morning joint. And I started to walk out the door, and it was like, nope. No. That precious little morning joint. But if they had started up a business real quick, and I already looked in the other universe is what it is. The other universe, the natives grabbed the Blacks and the Irish, turned them into some sort of auxiliary tribe mates that were treated well and trained, and then used them to as a united force in order to know the secrets and everything going on, and to make themselves so scary that they never got conquered or kidnapped. And actually, you could argue that something like that was going on here, but with the Chocolate Canyon period, but in this particular universe, not in the later period. That would have been if you could just hit the crystal ball into the other universe, you would know the tactic. Oh, the tactic is get those ones, find out the secrets, and then make yourself formidable enough to where they don't know what you're capable of. Then it's just not worth it to go into open battle, because the chances are too high that they could lose. I mean, they wouldn't, but you know. One of the things I'm thinking about right now is how I was talking to myself a bit before I started this recording. And I have a habit. I try to, if I'm talking to myself excessively at home, as soon as I notice it's happening, I just turn the YouTube video on. So pretty much that way, if people hear me, I'll be like, dude, like if I'm in the store or my neighbor's like, later they'll be like, oh, she has a YouTube channel. It's all going on the YouTube channel. Alright. That makes sense. Because if it all goes on my YouTube channel and I'm talking to myself, then, but the only thing is that usually there's like a 5-minute to 10-minute gap at least before I turn the camera on. So by the time I get the camera rolling, I don't remember which things I'm saying to you twice and which things I omitted, because the only thing I'm not really remembering sometimes the challenge was the camera. When did I turn the camera on? And then I have to go back and think, like, I was imagining I had started to imagine I was talking to you, I think, before I turned the camera on. And so it makes it like a little, like you have to take a second, which I'm going to do in a second. Blame it on the rain. The rain don't mind. No, I'm still thinking about it because I really pay attention to people's breathing, right? My goals are going to see the observations I've made. That's why I don't tell them on my channel. I don't tell people on my channel because I don't know who's watching. If I had a camera and I could watch your face and see who you were, then I'd be like, I'll be considering whether or not to repeat this one. But without knowing who is watching, I don't. But if you made a study, the person was to make a study of when people sneeze, cough, breathe deeply, have a hard time breathing, breathe this way, breathe that way. You could start to make a study of it, and you could actually probably have a breathometer that just in your imagination state, just like they created for an AI version of it, and then they find out how fantastic it is. And then you just give you it'd be like, it's a patient, like he's had this, so you could read it. And with the other one, both. If you want to start measuring people's breathing, you know what they rip for a long time. So most people are not controlling their breathing that much. And then you can notice that too. Like dolphins, they breathe consciously. There's a small percentage of humans that breathe consciously a fraction of the time. But I won't give you guys secrets about who's who, because that's the work part. That's the fun curiosity part that you don't give away for free. You gotta go do it yourself. You go see what you notice. Pay attention. Just pay attention to what you're thinking, the environment, and everything going on every time you see someone sneeze. Start to work with the variables. I knew a woman once, and she and I both knew, apparently had been studying the same topic, and we were in the airport, and it was one of those situations where, like, in a pretend land, I had walked into the room, and everybody sneezed, and then then she walked in, or not everybody, but some of the people, and then she walked in and some of the people sneezed, and then she said, she was about 30 years older than me, and she said, "It's good to know I still have it." And that's all the hint you're going to get. If we ever... Humans can be allergic to animals, right? Are there humans who are allergic to some animals more than others? Why is it causing a histamine reaction? I don't know. I think I'm 20 minutes in my walk, and that's why I'm feeling a little more like alert now. Because I just went straight. Yeah, 30 seconds. Oh. What a wonderful day. Clouds are all foggy coming my way. Barely a single sunshine ray. cloud has dominated your face. It's the truth. It's natural. Everything is satisfactual. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. Wonderful feeling, wonderful day. Mr. Bluebird, which kind of bluebird? There's different bluebirds. If you're talking about the bluebird, it's one thing. You're talking about the blue jay. Now you gotta talk. Oh, bluebird's okay, but that's not the one I would put in the song today. The blue jay is one of the only creatures that I know of that actually doesn't only warn their own species. If a fire is blazing in the forest, most species take off and they'll get their own, right? If they need to. They'll tell them, get out of town now! Like a lady screaming out of a high-rise building in New York City at 3 a.m. at a drunk. They'll tell you, get out, get out. As Jim Morrison said, did I call you to wish you well, to glory in self like a new monster? Or were you called to announce sadness falling like burned skin? Dun, dun, dun. We're going to quote some Morrison here. Death, old friend. Death in the world. Could I forgive my injuries in the name of wisdom, luxury, romance? Sentence upon sentence. Words have no meaning in the soft fire. He thought words got him the wound and might get him well if he believed it. All join now in lament for the death of his cocked spirit, a tongue of knowledge in the feathered night. Boys get crazy in the head and he suffers. He sacrifices his cock on the altar of silence. More Jim Morrison if you want it. Curses, invocations. Weird, bait-headed mongrels, I keep expecting one of you to rise. Large, buxom, obese queens, garden hogs, and cunt veterans. We welcome you to our procession. All join now. No. Let's do this one. The movie will begin in 5 moments. The mindless voice announced. All those unseated will await the next show. They filed slowly and languidly into the hall. The auditorium was both vast and silent. As they seated and were darkened, the voice continued. Program for this evening is not new. You've seen this entertainment through and through. You've seen your birth, your life, and death. You might recall the rest. Did you have a good world? Big question here. Was it enough to base a movie on? He says he's getting out of here. Where are you going? To the other side of morning? Please, don't chase the clouds, pagodas. The cunt gripped him like a warm, friendly hand. It's alright. All your friends are here. When can I meet them? Oh, after you've eaten. It's alright. I'm not hungry anymore. Our women beaten. Silver stream, silvery stream. Ooh, impossible concentration. My friend drove an hour each day from the mountains. He says the bus gives you a hard-on with books in your lap. Someone shot the bird in the afternoon dance show. Gave out free records to the best couple. Spades dance best for the head. The music was new, black, polished chrome. And it came over the summer like liquid night. The DJs took pills and stayed awake and played for 7 days. He went to the studio and someone knew him. Someone knew the TV showman. He came to our homeroom party and played records. And when he left in the hot noon sun, he saw the Chutes had written F-U-C-K on his windshield. He wiped it off with a white rag, smiling coolly, drove away. And Rich had been gone. One night, while going to the pier, I ran into two young men. The blonde, Freedom, the dark one, Enterprise. We talked and they told me a story. It was something like this. I'll tell you about Texas radio and the Big B. Soft, driven, slow and mad like some new language. Reach in your head with the cold and sudden fury of a divine messenger. I'll tell you about heartache and the loss of God. Wandering in some hopeless night. Out here in the perimeter, there are no stars. Out here, it's stone. Do 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 The Music Man is about the Book of Esther, and it's like a very okay. So the song that directly talks about Esther is "The Sadder but Wiser Girl." The sadder but wiser girl, for he said, no bright-eyed, blushing, breathless babe in Albany. No, sir, that kind of child ties knots no sailor ever knew. I prefer, he said, to take his chance on a more adult romance. No golden, glorious, gleaming goddess? And a more secure romance. Bright-eyed, blushing, breathless babe in Albany. No, sir, that kind of child ties not. No sailor who prefers to take his chance on a more adult romance. No Dewey young miss who keeps insisting all the time she keeps resisting.